Hello, I am William Jamar Wright,
And I'm Hattie.
and this is our podcast, HattieJo. What are we doing? So, how's it going, Hattie?
It's going. I'm exhausted. We've had a lot of travel,
Yes.
and July was kind of the month of travel. This is July 2023 podcast, which it is now August 6th. But we've just been really busy, had a lot going on and a lot of travel, so
Yeah, we
that's why we're a little late.
Yeah, we definitely had a lot of travel in the month of August or July, and things are starting to ramp up and getting ready back for school and football. So
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Like a little, I wouldn't say stressed, but definitely feeling busy and keeping busy. So I'll put it that way. So we're going to, on this episode, we're going to talk about just our month of travel and everything we did. And so, we started off the month. We actually went to South Carolina to visit my family for
4th of July.
4th of July. And you got to meet the newest member of the Wright family, my little nephew.
Baby Atticus.
Baby Atticus. He's a quiet little baby. He cries a little bit, but for the most part, he's a little well-mannered little youngster.
He's like, anyone who wants to hold me and cuddle me, I'll allow it.
Yeah.
So that was great.
So we hung out with him, and we literally spent a lot of time with my nieces and nephews. We saw Majay for a little bit.
Yeah.
But he wasn't around as much.
He's in high school and it's too cool for us now,
So we hung out with just
some of the younger cousins.
Yeah, some of my younger cousins, and then we saw my cousin Erica and Robert.
Well, I guess, some of your younger nieces and nephews.
Yes.
Sorry, we misspoke. But we stayed with your cousin Erica, which was really kind. We loved it.
Yeah.
It was really fun to stay with her and her husband Robert and their 2 kids.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It actually rained on the 4th of July. Nigel, my second, I guess technically he's my cousin. He's
So I think the official term is first cousin once removed. Because his mom, Tamika, is your cousin, right?
Yeah, his mom.
And then he's the next generation down, that's the once removed. But I feel like colloquially a lot of people call that a second cousin.
Yeah.
Because also, I don't know how he refers to you, right?
Yeah, and I would say we're much
he feels more like a niece or a nephew.
Yeah, he feels more like a nephew than
a cousin or something.
But we're very close and
he calls you and talks to you on the phone a lot.
And the goal was to try and go watch fireworks, but it started raining, and then the place that we were gonna go, they said they canceled the fireworks, and then later on they actually ended up having the fireworks, so it was very confusing, and so we didn't actually get to see any fireworks, which is a little bit of a bummer.
I think there were some members of the crew that were more distraught than others.
Yeah.
Like Serenity. She was very upset, poor thing. But on the 4th of July, Erica and Robert hosted a really big cookout for everybody. Yeah. And so a ton of different people in your family were able to stop by for different parts of that. And that was really fun.
Yeah.
It was a really good time. I got 1.5 million bug bites, but it's all good. Also was playing volleyball with Cortland and
Erica's?
Yeah, well, that's Erica's daughter.
Are you talking about Erica's?
And Sincere.
You play with Cortland and Sincere?
Yeah. Right. It was first just me and Sincere Sincere's gotten so tall. And we were playing with this deflated volleyball, but we didn't realize it. We were both like, oh my god, this ball is so hard to hit, da da da. And Cortland comes out and she plays volleyball, and she immediately was like, what are you guys doing? Let me get a different ball. And as soon as we got this new ball, I was like, oh, this is so easy. Well, easier. It wasn't easy for me, but it might have been easy for Sincere and Cortland. But anyway, so that was fun. We played a lot of card games too.
Yeah.
That was really fun.
I think you ordered one of the card games that we
played. Yeah, that's right, because it was so much fun.
And so that was the first trip of July. And then I went to Florida to visit the homie Patrick. Stayed there for a couple of days. We actually went out on the boat and just cruised around. And so that was very nice. Saw some dolphins. So it's nice to kind of be out in nature and cruise on the boats for a little bit and relax. And so that was a cool trip. And then came back here, and then the next trip we went on was to Colchester, correct?
Well, the next planned trip, was to Colchester.
So,
go ahead.
Yeah, so the next planned trip, we went to Canada. It was actually my first time going into Canada. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Much cooler weather than here in Phoenix.
Yeah, so Phoenix has had like a 30 plus day streak of above 110, setting records right and left for hottest times. So anyway, it was very nice to be in Colchester with like 75 degrees, beautiful. Maybe it was a little cooler than that in the mornings.
Yeah.
But it was still really nice. And it was really great because my dad rented an Airbnb, and so it was big enough that we could all stay together. So that was a really fun experience. You know, we didn't have any big plans per se, but you know, just spend time together, you know, not be stuck in a hotel room trying to visit with each other. There's plenty of space. We played a lot of outdoor games. That Cube game that Rob and Sarah have, that's really fun. We also went to the beach multiple times. I think on 2 separate days we went to the beach. Wells was thrilled.
They wanted to continuously go to the beach.
Yes, and then my Uncle Blake works at a local heritage museum.
Yeah.
And so, I think he volunteers is the correct term, but we went to see the Heritage Museum, had a ton of different cars, also a ton of like historical buildings from the late 1800s through the early 1900s, which was crazy to see. Go ahead.
Like we went to like the schoolhouse and like they had like all the rules on the like chalkboard, and some of the different rules that you would get like little pops for. Lashes. They would give you lashes for like, literally if you wrote with your left hand, like they would give you lashes. Like if you were smoking, like it was different times.
Was like
different
second
times.
grade through 8th grade too. So it's like these second graders are out here smoking.
Yeah, and I think it like, and I want to say that like, if you were in school, like I don't know this for sure, but I think the classroom basically went from like kindergarten all the way through like 12th grade.
It was a one size fits all. Like you just show up.
Like,
that's what. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like you could potentially have like high school students that were in the classroom, and then she's
sitting right next to a first grader too. Yeah.
So. And so like also like they had rules for the teachers.
No loitering around ice cream shops, must remain unmarried. Yeah. All the teachers were women, and so they had to have like a 2-year sign up where they would like not loiter around areas where men were, and like their skirts had to be a certain length.
And like you couldn't ride like in a vehicle, or you couldn't ride like in a wagon with that like with anybody that wasn't like your father or something like that. Like they're really putting the restraints on these women.
Well, and the funny thing is that's not like a Canadian thing. That's just the 1800s thing. Like in the U.S., Canada, Great Britain type culture. So anyway, it was really interesting to see. They also had a general store there from the late 1800s, which was really interesting because my grandfather, his father ran a general store, and the time frame would have been like the early 1900s. Okay. So just like one generation newer, but a lot of the things that my grandpa wrote up this big thing about his father's general store and working there and helping him as he was growing up. And so a lot of the things that were described there were visually visible when we went to go see this general store. So that was cool. And it was also amazing to see in some of these homes from the 1800s, like what amenities they did have and like what things they did to make up for amenities they didn't have. So it was just a really educational experience, and I thought that was kind of cool. And another thing was we went to go see the house where my grandparents were living at the time that my Uncle Blake, my dad, and my Uncle Neil were born.
Yeah, and we got a little picture.
Right out front, and it was funny. Across the street and like one house down was a church, and my dad would describe some of his earliest memories as being, oh, we had to go on this huge long walk to church on Sundays, right? And so then to go there and see that it's, you just cross the street and go down, like it,
Well,
maybe
and also
50 feet, maybe.
well, also, I had the like distinct impression, like both from talking to your dad and Blake, that they had recollections of the church being in a different location. Like
Oh, really? I missed that.
I
Okay.
think the church has since been moved.
Okay.
And so like they both said like we would come out of the church, we would come out of the house, and we'd have to walk down to the left, and like we have to go down the street in order to get to the church. But the church that was like, I don't think there's any way to mistake like going to the left from literally going right across the
Well,
street.
because I thought Dad had made the comment of like, I can't believe the church is just right here. I really thought when I was a kid it was this giant walk.
Yeah.
But again, he would have been 2 years old, the maximum 3
Yeah,
years
so it
old
was a
before they
long
moved.
time ago.
So, I mean, it could, it was a long time ago. Sorry, Dad. A lot of things may have changed.
It was
but
a long time ago since I was 2. This is like, it's just...
Yeah, and B, you know, a 3-year-old could definitely have a perception that that was a long walk. I mean, because also they're wearing their stuffy clothes, you know, he said they would have special hand-me-downs from like another part of his family, and so they'd be wearing like 8 layers and all this stuff, and little white gloves, you know, things that they would not normally be wearing.
Yeah.
So it's also like, I don't want to make him, you know.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so that was kind of a fun family heritage moment.
Yeah, and then we took like, what was the name of that donut shop? It was the equivalent of a Dunkin' Donuts.
Tim Hortons.
Tim Hortons.
So we had a cultural education for William as well.
And so Hattie's cousin Ivy, we went on a little, I would say it was a little walk to this, what would you call it?
It was like a secondhand shop.
Yeah.
Like little just knickknacks and random items, books,
Yes.
dishes.
And so we took a little walk down there because we thought it'd be a good place to grab like some books for Olean Wells and just kind of see the town.
Mm-hmm.
And so as we're walking, like I'm talking to Hattie's cousin Ivy,
Who's 14.
who's 14. And so we were just kind of like goofing off, talking, and she's like, have you ever been to Tim Hortons? I was like, I've never even heard of a Tim Hortons. She's like, oh, like it's like a donut shop. Like you gotta get the like little like donut balls or whatever.
Kind of
they
the
are.
equivalent of Dunkin' Donuts here in the States, where it's like one of the top coffee providers, commercial coffee providers, and it's also a donut shop at the same time. So yeah, the donut holes, but there's a specific name for them. Timbits.
Timbits, yes.
Yeah.
But they're just little donut balls.
They're
like
donut
that.
holes, yeah. But
So-
they're Timbits and they're delicious, and you can crush a million of them if you want to.
So we were like, I was goofing off and being like, oh, like my first time ever going into a Tim Hortons, like, yay me. And so we kind of went in there and like we took a little photo. It was me, Wells, and Ivy. Took a little photo to commemorate my first time in Tim Hortons.
As you should.
Yeah.
As you should. So yeah.
And then your Uncle Blake, he took us on a little history tour.
Yeah, more family history tours.
Yeah.
So what had brought my family to live in Colchester was my grandfather had worked for the Department of Agriculture. And so there was a lot of research. So one of PEI's, I guess, main, I don't even know if it's exports is the right word, but main products is agricultural produce. Things like potatoes and among others, but primarily potatoes. And so he was contracted to do research at a research station located in Colchester about the maintenance and growing of different crops and how to best get them to grow. And so that research center has been there, you know, at the time and continues to be there. And so we were able to go, Uncle Blake took us on a like tour around. You can drive through it and kind of see the crops and see some of the things. And so he had a whole bunch of information for us, as well as we were able to kind of see the area and see that type of stuff, which was really cool, given that, you know, I've been in the sciences and like doing research and stuff. So it's kind of neat for me to hear about Grampy's angle on that, you know, with the farming and everything. And
yeah, it was cool to like see how much like actual like farming there is, and it's like kind of took you back. There isn't like a bunch of technology. I'm sure there is probably some technology that I wasn't aware of, but it just looked like good old farmland, or people like go out and they do their hard work and they go home to their families, but kind of reminiscent of a time that was not now.
Yes.
In the States.
In the States. Well, and like we don't really live in any major agricultural cities, right? Like most of the populated cities are heavily industrial. And so it's more like these smaller towns that you might find that. But yeah, it was pretty neat. And apparently Colchester is one of the most moderate parts of Canada, like the most desirable place to be. It's like a big vacation spot because it is really far south. And so it gets warm in the summers, and it's not too cold in the winters.
And it definitely felt like there were a bunch of different wineries, and like they had the word lounge on there, like the name, but like I would just say it's like a nice little.
It's a different speed.
Yeah, a nice little relaxed place to grab a bite to eat.
So yeah, it was really fun. And then we also had dinner one night at Uncle Blake's house.
Yeah.
We had dinner one night at, like a big dinner with more than just our family. Like Uncle Blake, Aunt Nora, and Ivy came over because we celebrated Ivy's birthday one day early.
Yes.
So that was like a little surprise. So
got a little ice cream cake.
Ice cream cake, yeah. So it was just a really nice time to visit with the family that, you know, we haven't been able to see. I mean, we saw Blake really recently, but I haven't even seen Kale. The last time I saw him was 2015.
Yeah. And so Kale is your
Blake's
cousin.
Yeah, one of my cousins.
Blake's son.
One of my youngest cousins. I think there's only 2 or 3 that are younger than him.
Oh, really?
I think just 2. I think it's his sister Reese and then Sam. And like another from Uncle Kirk. But yeah, because Kirk's other kids, Bryn and Dane, are older than him. Obviously, all of my dad's side, Rob, Jeff, and I are older than him.
Yeah.
And then all of Uncle Neil's are older than him. So yeah, so it's 3. It's Reese, his sister, Kale's sister, Sam, and Ivy that are the 3 younger than Kale. But Kale's the same age as Hunter. So he's...
Yeah, finishing up school.
His, what's it called?
MBA?
Yeah, his MBA. He can't wait to be done.
Yeah.
Seems to be doing good, so it was
It
great
was
to
a
see
good
everybody.
time. Yeah. We really enjoyed it, and I'm sure we'll be back in Canada.
Yeah. And shout out to my dad also for, you know, making it as easy on the rest of us. We flew to Detroit, which is a lot easier and cheaper than flying somewhere in Canada. And then he drove down to pick us up and like shuttle us back and forth across the bridge. So I feel like he really did a lot of effort to try to make it doable for everybody.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was our month of July. A lot of travel, getting to see family, and now we're back to the grind of our daily routines.
That's right. That's what we're doing.
These is